Look, guys, it's Brazil. But this time, I think they stirred up such a big hornet's nest there. So big that it's going to be very complicated for them not to do anything. Right away, they immediately called for the impeachment of Toffoli. The situation got out of control, yes, and there's even already a request for a parliamentary inquiry. There at the Legislative Chamber of São Paulo, at the City Council, the São Paulo Chamber, things got out of control. What Minister Toffoli did is extremely serious. At first, he hadn't authorized the federal police operation. Then the investigators said that the situation was very serious. There needed to be the operation, then he authorized it, then the federal police went there and carried out the operation, right? And all the evidence collected ends up in the office of Toffoli. It didn't just make things difficult for him, it made things difficult for us too. Even Globo is admitting it, guys. Look at that. Even Globo is starting to admit that Flavio Bolsonaro's candidacy, our dear Flavio Bolsonaro, has already taken off. It's taken off. Coeste is showing similar numbers. If we look at Inácio and Flavio, can you imagine what it's really like? It could be. Who knows the truth? Through a survey by Coeste, other institutes are already showing it's neck and neck. There's still a lot to happen before then, even before the campaign starts, so nothing is set in stone. I'm going to tell you everything here, but hit that like button, go ahead and hit the like button. Come be part of our family, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, I'll bring all of this here. Mario Sabino, who's a journalist from Metropolis, said, "Look, the master case." Apparently, Toffoli just used the federal police to collect and store evidence that was scattered around. Mario Sabino, as everyone knows, is not a Bolsonaro supporter. In fact, he was one of the journalists who criticized President Bolsonaro the most when he was president. This is serious, using the federal police for evidence that was scattered around. Who could this evidence harm? We have our own perceptions, right? We do. Obviously, we can't go around explaining our thoughts too much. This is like a mix of Venezuela and Iran, right? For us to observe, right, my friends? Given the situation then, it's barbaric, and look, just like over there in Iran, for example. You see a guy who wants to rule over everyone. It's the same here. People don't respond. Take Iran as an example, right? That's what should be done. I won't put up with this woman here anymore. No way. Not with the one from MBL either. There, that Amanda Veterasso. But what if she, councilwoman, files a request for a parliamentary commission of inquiry on Banco Master in the São Paulo City Council? Amanda Veterasso is asking for an investigation into possible irregularities, local economic impacts, and oversight failures. If she's asking for this, why aren't our other council members asking for it too? Nothing will happen. First, we don't know, and second, it has to be done. Do you guys want an example? It's kinda gross, but once I heard this from a construction worker I hired many years ago to do a job. I said, "Fabiano Gigay, I'm sorry for the comparison, I apologize to you guys, but I never forgot it." He said, "Look, do you use the bathroom? How often each day for number 2? Guys, about twice, right? And you wipe the first time, knowing that you're gonna go a second time, right? So, are you gonna leave it dirty because you'll have to wipe again? It doesn't matter. Some things just have to be done over and over, with no way to avoid them. But if Councilwoman from MBL is asking for this here, then why aren't ours asking too? Councilwoman Amanda Veterasso filed a request in the São Paulo City Council to create a parliamentary inquiry commission to investigate irregularities related to the Banco Master scandal. In a document, the councilwoman claims the bank investigation meets constitutional standards for specific facts and public interest, noting the case has national attention. The city council must investigate serious issues affecting São Paulo to ensure transparency, accountability, and protect the public interest. They're getting ahead of us. Right? Often you think nothing will happen. Man, the left has the example right there. And look here, the comments, the news. Even Toffoli orders the federal police to send to the Supreme Court items seized from the Lacra case. Sealed, and here, look. Senators request Toffoli's impeachment for conflict of interest. Senators Magno Malta, Eduardo Girão, and Adamares filed today in the Senate a request for impeachment against Dias Toffoli from the Supreme Court. The lawmakers argue that the judge should lose his position and be disqualified for 8 years from holding public office. They say I committed 2 acts of misconduct. Is that right, Adamares, Magno Malta, and Eduardo Girão? That's what's needed. We don't know how things will turn out. Globo is really putting a lot of pressure. Among the crimes are delivering a judgment when, by law, you are suspected in the case, and behaving in a way that is incompatible with the honor, dignity, and decorum of your position. Senators claim Toffoli made decisions in the investigation of Daniel Vorkar, Banco Master owner, despite a legal suspicion. Because right now, we're seeing Partido dos Trabalhadores supporters criticize Toffoli and even Globo. Even Partido dos Trabalhadores supporters noticed. There, that congressman, the guy who always gets attacked on the street, that Renato guy, I don't know his full name, from Curitiba, and he was criticizing Toffoli. They point out that the minister traveled to Lima, Peru, on a private jet, alongside a lawyer involved in the master case, before taking full control of the process, and that there are economic and financial ties between the investment fund involved in the investigated network, the existence of million-dollar contributions of scrutinized origin, and family businesses. This results in a potential patrimonial conflict of interest under Article 144 of the Civil Procedure Code. Similarly, suspension occurs if the judge is a creditor, debtor, or has any direct or indirect interest in the case. Senators say keeping the rapporteurship in this situation is a serious deviation. Toffoli's actions in the master case, showing procedural favoritism, creating a public conflict, and staying in a case with a family conflict of interest, are clearly incompatible with his role. Senators sense a suspension of atypical procedural acts by Toffoli in the case. He orders the hearing during the judicial recess and rejects the statement, technical in his approach. What will be the next steps? After the complaint against him is filed, it proceeds in the Senate under the name petition. The President of the House has the authority to dispatch legislative proposals. Now, we don't even know if Alcolumbre will cover for Moraes as much as he does, but he does. Now this case has gotten out of control, and it's obvious, right, that it really has. It's going to be intense, you can bet on that. The action that Toffoli took today, he ended up stirring things up. What a mess, what a situation, what a situation. And as soon as the poll comes out here, Globo is starting to give in a little. Take a look.
He improved his polling numbers in several race scenarios.
Flavio Bolsonaro. Just a few weeks ago, I had already stated here in this video what would happen regarding Flavio Bolsonaro's candidacy, and now this is starting to be confirmed.
Flavio Bolsonaro surging.
Flavio Bolsonaro.
PL increases from 27 to 31.
In today's QUEST poll, I highlight the increase seen in several first-round scenarios presented by Quest. From Senator Flavio Bolsonaro, son of ex-President Jair Bolsonaro. There was a lot of expectation after the launch. When he was launched, he showed some momentum to be a candidate. Then, a month later, what was the outlook? Did he maintain it? Did he drop? How was his performance? Well, he improved in several scenarios. The intentions in the race for this year. The positive point for the former president's son is that, in several scenarios tested by Quest, he manages to improve his voting intentions. That takes a bit of the pressure off. It reduces the ammunition. For those who are pressuring Flavio Bolsonaro to drop out of the race, since December, he has had more reasons to remain a candidate than to withdraw.
You understand? Many were betting on Tarcísio. His name was everywhere. I don't know what. If, by any chance, it gets confirmed. This nonsense we're watching. About Tarcísio, let me tell you something. Guys, it's gonna be really sad. Tarcísio's going to end up losing absolutely everything. Everything just because he wants to trip up President Bolsonaro. Hold on, Tarcísio. Hold on. We're swallowing a really high toll here. We don't have that here. It's like you came in to be different from the Partido de Social Democracia Brasileira, and you're doing exactly the same as the Partido de Social Democracia Brasileira tolls. Really high taxes, the worst atrocities. Do you think you'll get anywhere? Hold on, Tarcísio. Do you think you'll make it? Convince us to support you and not support Flavio? Do you think that without President Bolsonaro, do you think you'll move forward? What did your wife post on social media? That Brazil needs a new chief executive officer, and that chief executive officer is you. Honestly, I've always praised Tarcísio while he was with the president, but I always said that if one day he jumped the fence, he'd be the first. I've been saying this in several videos. Hold on, man. Hold on. Do you think that by betraying President Bolsonaro, because you don't defend President Bolsonaro, you don't say anything about what he's going through, Eduardo Bolsonaro, exiled in the United States, stays silent? You kind of said you were going to support Flavio and all, but not really. Not real support. Come on, Tarcísio does that. No. So I thought, me. This idea is institutionally spoken by whoever says it right. And you're going to end up like Doria. Look at what happened to Doria. You can be sure that the left is desperate to take over the government of the state of São Paulo. They're desperate. They're out of their minds. Simone Tebet and Fernanda Haddad. But we find a very competitive person to be able to run for the position and even win. Tarcísio. Man, winning against that man who helped you so much. Who did so much for you? What's this nonsense, your wife? Putting that out there, exposing that? Paulo Figueiredo pointed it out, right? Tarcísio's intention gets clearer each time. He doesn't talk about the president's condition, nor does he mention Flavio's pre-candidacy, who will be the right wing's presidential candidate if President Bolsonaro doesn't return. Do you think you'll be able to get support by betraying Flavio, President Bolsonaro, and the people? Do you think you'll be able to? Tarcísio. If you go to the Northeast, where nobody knows you, the Northeast, nobody knows you, but they know President Bolsonaro, without the support of President Bolsonaro, do you think you'll be well received there, considering how President Bolsonaro was received there? Wow. Hey, Tarcísio. Do you really want to face everyone and think you'll come out on top? Man, Brazil isn't like the highways here in São Paulo that you kept putting tolls on and raising the prices like crazy. Today, the cost for me to leave here from the countryside and go to São Paulo is scary. It's really scary. There's no point in robbing Peter to pay Paul. It doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And Flavio, even Globo is calling him Guaeste here, right? Tarcísio. Man, I hope we're wrong. I hope so. Please share this video. Sorry if anyone's upset. I had to speak up. My apologies. He betrayed President Bolsonaro and us. While he was with Bolsonaro, he was with us, but then he strayed. There are only two groups, left and right, the middle. Like and share this video to support our parents and children, Fabiano Gigay channel family. Big hugs, stay with God, see you next time. Thanks.